The U.S. Justice Department released an initial tranche of documents related to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The disclosure comes after a one-month deadline set by a law passed by the U.S. Congress. The DoJ has released over 13,000 files, including photos, videos, and investigative documents, but much of the disclosed material is heavily redacted. Several released documents with 100 pages or more are entirely blacked out. Several high-profile individuals have been shown in the first batch of files. This includes former U.S. President Bill Clinton, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the brother of Britain's King Charles III, and musicians Mick Jagger and Michael Jackson. Previously unseen photographs include a youthful-looking Clinton lounging in a hot tub. A part of the image has been blacked out. In another photograph, Clinton swims alongside a dark-haired woman who appears to be Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. Another photograph shows Maxwell with disgraced former British Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor pictured lying across the legs of 5 people. U.S. President Donald Trump also finds a brief mention in the released files. Court documents detail that Epstein allegedly introduced a 14-year-old girl to Trump at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. Democrats have voiced their frustration over the release. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer slammed the DoJ. Schumer said that the release fell far short of what was mandated by the Epstein Files Transparency Act. He also hit out at the heavy reduction in the disclosure, calling them a violation of the spirit of transparency and the letter of the law. Clinton's deputy chief of staff responded to the newly released files by saying the country expects answers, not scapegoats. In a post on X, he alleged that the White House was trying to shield itself. The family of Virginia Giuffre, an Epstein victim, has also expressed their disappointment over the redacted release.
We're going to do our due diligence, between us, the survivors, the lawyers. We know what should be in there, and we're going to comb through every single page, and we're going to hold them accountable. And so while we're extremely disappointed, while we're frustrated, there is also this sense of empowerment. And every single survivor that I told them today, I said the ball is in our court.
So far, the released documents have not revealed any wrongdoing. The DoJ maintains that it is not redacting names of any politicians. The reductions are the ones required by law. Remember, the law allows the DoJ to redact information that is part of an active investigation. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche maintains that reductions intend to protect the identities of Epstein's hundreds of victims. Mr. Garland Nixon is a political analyst and also a radio show host. He's now joining us live from Maryland. Nixon, thanks for your time. The DoJ hurriedly released 13,000 of the Epstein files, but most of it has been redacted or blacked out. They say it's for the essence of the victims and to protect the victims. Why did the Justice Department find the need to release the files now and basically conceal most of it?
I think there was so much pressure on the government from the people right now, particularly a lot of pressure on the Trump administration. There are 2 lines of discussion amongst the public here. Number one, the issue of who is involved and the identities of people who are involved in criminal activity towards minors, which is certainly a concern. Unfortunately, rather than finding out who did what and who's guilty of anything, what we're actually seeing is the 2 parties simply looking for ways to use information in the Epstein files to attack the other party. So this is political, number one. Number two, another discussion that's being had, at least in social media in the United States, is this. The Democrats were in power for 4 years. They didn't release anything. Epstein died in 2019. So now that the Democrats are out of power, conveniently, politically, they're saying, why don't the Republicans do what we never did? Which certainly points to a reality, and that is that this was, that Epstein, as we were told years ago, as early as 2018 or 2019 that Epstein was in fact a government agent of some type, and that what's really being hidden here, and this, of course, this is the discussion amongst the on social media amongst the masses. What's really being hidden here is that he was involved in some kind of a government operation, and that's the true criminality, and that must be hidden at all costs.
Mr. Nixon, do you think the blacking out or reduction further complicates this Epstein issue and basically puts the Trump administration in a fix?
I think it does, absolutely, because people realize that, they were expecting to get information that they're not going to get. But I think that the Trump administration and the government in general looked at their options. Option one is to release everything. And of course, then the victims will not only be suing and pursuing the Epstein estate, as it were, and the people who were involved in the money in the Epstein estate, but they will also be going after the government. And of course, if the American people should find out that their government was involved in the trafficking of minors for sexual purposes, there would certainly be outrage, and it could certainly destabilize the United States government. So yes, I think they weighed their options, and I think this was, to be quite frank, and sadly I say this, I think this was the only option that the government had, was to heavily redact this information. So in fact, they didn't release the Epstein files, if we're honest about this.
All right, let's see what the DOJ does next, because we are hearing that this is the first batch of the files that have been released by the DOJ, and they expect to release further files in the coming months. Mr. Garland Nixon, it's good to see you. Thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you.